Another season of Central Coast Crusaders basketball, 2 feet in the paint, taking you through how they went in their first round of the season. The first round of NBL1 East, and boy, it was interesting results for both sides. Let's start off with the women's. Narrowly going down 79-90 to the Hornsby Ku-ring-gai Spiders. Look, maybe it wasn't the best performance from the Crusaders to start the season, but there was plenty of bright signs out there. I mean, let's just start off with the main headline. Mikayla Dombkins and Leillani Mitchell still tearing it up. After so many years at the top level of basketball, they still got it. Leillani Mitchell, 22 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, and 1 steal as well to go with that. Meanwhile, Mikayla Dombkins with 15, 5 rebounds, and 7 assists. So those two really get this team going. They're just such professionals, and out there, it almost seems like things move slower for them. They're very much in control. I mean, Leillani Mitchell, that 3-point shot is still automatic. Of course, remember back from a Washington Mystics days where I think she hit, I think it was 8 threes in a game, in a WNBA game. I mean, that flick of the wrist is still absolutely money, and we saw that a lot at the Brick Pit on Saturday. I mean, was a great bailout package for a lot of possessions when, you know, the shot clock kind of wind down, and you could just throw it to Leillani to chuck it up. And Mikayla Dombkins was just everywhere in the pick and roll setting, fighting after rebounds, using that 3-point shot a lot more, which is great, using that height to get that 3 off. So that 1-2 punch is still looking good for the Central Coast Crusaders. Another player who looked really good was Muffi Loader. Shot 18 points. Muffi Loader got 18 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, and 4 steals. And that's that Muffi Loader we remember from previously with the Crusaders, previously with the North Bears, and briefly with the UC Capitals in the WNBL, is a hype, energy player. And she looked fired up out there playing for her hometown Crusaders. It's just great to have Muffi Loader back in the East. And that performance was just incredible. That's 4 steals especially, bringing that energy. That led to a lot of fast break opportunities for the Crusaders. And the 3-point shot was looking very crisp. Shot 4 of 9, so 44% from 3-point land for Muffi Loader. And she was also single-handedly their Energizer Bunny. Really brought a lot of energy out there and charged the team up. So great to have her back for another season with the Crusaders. For a real lethal backcourt to go alongside Jas Frocadilla. Jas Forcadilla, very solid game. 10 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, and 2 steals. Was playing a lot off the ball, which is interesting to see. I mean, obviously last year they had Leillani Mitchell, but do you think they would share ball handling responsibilities now with Muffi Loader in the mix? So it's going to be interesting to see how Jas Forcadilla, who definitely can play the 2-guard, has played it a lot in her career, but it becomes just a primary off-ball player. The 3 was still looking very sharp, managed to sink 2 of 6. So maybe you could do it a little bit more efficiently, but the season's still early. But Jas Frocadilla still looked extremely quality out there. A new signing that I'd like to draw a bit of attention to, who I think maybe flew under the radar in the game, was Tai Wakelin-Gray. And she was getting there doing the dirty work. She had 6 rebounds and 6 points to go with that, just of simple finishes. Was running basket to basket, but was a former teammate of Muffi Loader. Well, still are teammates, but played on their former team, the Rockhampton Cyclones. Has come down to join the Central Coast. I think as the season goes along, she's going to be really important, just doing that dirty work for the Central Coast Crusaders. But yeah, she had some very timely baskets and was an absolute nuisance defensively for the Spiders. So Tai Wakelin-Gray, definitely keep an eye out for her. One of those players who might not, show up too much in the stat sheet, but her energy was definitely contagious out there. Now, there's a few big omissions for the Central Coast Crusaders, which why I think this game didn't quite go their way. One of their new signings, Jasmine Simmons, didn't play, which I think really held them back. Kasey Quigley was also out, their centre, and there was a big void there in the middle, which actually was filled by one of the biggest surprise signings. We're just so happy to see it. Rachel Herrick, out of retirement and back onto the court. Great to see the former WNBL talent. Of course, remember her from back in her days with AIS, with Adelaide, with Bendigo, and also with the Flames as well. Obviously does the radio call for the Flames now, so great commentator. and very involved with Basketball New South Wales as well. But Rachel Herrick back out on the court and had a very solid game. 8 points, 2 rebounds and 3 assists. So was just filling in that big spot. I think maybe when she came out of retirement, wasn't expecting so many minutes, but she stepped up to the plate and is just a player, I mean, from all that experience, just plugged into the system really easily, was unselfish, setting good screens, getting after rebounds as well, and yeah, even had a few buckets here and there, Rachel Herrick. So a legend of New South Wales basketball. Of course, last time we saw her in NBL1 East was with the North Bears as an assistant coach. So another experienced player to bring that coaching expertise to this Crusaders team. But I think looking forward for the Crusaders, they seem to just run out of steam in the game. So I think maybe looking to develop that bench depth. I know they've got a new signing, Lydia Fui, who didn't play. I'm not too sure why, but might be looking for a few extra minutes out there because Rachel Mampa only used 2 players from the bench. And one of those players who was used off the bench was Bronte Moore, who I think could do with a couple more minutes. We saw in previous seasons she can be actually 15 to 20 point per game player, as well as the defensive player of the year in Youth League last season. So I think maybe Bronte Moore could be utilised a little more. Does fill in that wing position, which is a little lacking in depth for the Central Coast Crusaders, but definitely a talented player who I think could do with a couple more minutes. So not too sure what the reason was there, maybe health or injury concerns. But yeah, would really, I think, benefit from having a bit more depth because the players who are out there were playing like quite good basketball, but they just ran out of steam by the end of the game. I think a few players from Youth League that stood out that actually could potentially step up. Holly Handley actually had 19 points in the Youth League game before. A real quick, tenacious guard. Of course, they've got plenty of guards on this team, but could come off the bench for a good 5 to 10 minutes. Cushla Alpin as well, a versatile kind of power forward, small forward, as well as Jess Stone, a big, who also featured in the Youth League game. Those 3 players might be good to bring up into the NBL1 East roster if they're not there already. And maybe use them to plug in a few extra minutes because there was some heavy minutes out there. I mean, Leillani Mitchell played 38 minutes, Muffi Loader 39 minutes, Forcadilla 35, Dombkins 33. So there wasn't a whole lot of reprieve for the starters. Even Rachel Herrick clocked in 22 minutes. So maybe looking into that depth because I know there's plenty of talent floating around the Central Coast. But I'm sure Coach Mampa, if anyone can do it, she can. And there's definitely a lot of signs of potential for the Central Coast Crusaders women. Moving over to the men now, they got a pretty convincing 84 to 71 win over the Spiders. We're pretty much 10 points ahead for the majority of the game, but the Spiders kept hanging around, really gave the Central Coast Crusaders a bit of a test. But this was a totally new Central Coast Crusaders team. It was really exciting to watch them all come together and be so much talent being out on the court at the same time. Of course, under new coach, obviously not a new face around the Crusaders, but Miko von Lures stepping up to coach the men's side this season. And I think only one returning starter, Luke Cassidy, was starting at point guard. And big shout out to Luke Cassidy. Maybe didn't have the best scoring night, but 7 rebounds and 8 assists. And it was really great to just see Luke Cassidy back at the point guard position running the show. I said this on the commentary, but I'd just like to say it again in the review shows that I think Luke Cassidy got crammed out by players like Robbie Heath, who were very ball dominant last season. A lot of imports kind of just taking up the minutes. So I'm really happy to see Luke Cassidy back at the helm for the Crusaders because he's a 15 to 20 point per game scorer and a great distributor as well. So I think that looked really great to start off with, having that point general out there. Luke Cassidy's been at the Crusaders forever. Of course, he's a Terrigal boy, so good to see that homegrown talent as well staying around for the Crusaders. But moving on from the homegrown talent, the imports. Let's just get started. Garric Young. Wow. Now, I haven't seen a whole lot of him coming into the game, but he is so athletic. I don't think I've really ever seen a player that athletic with a vertical leap, the wingspan, the speed, and the size of Garric Young. Of course, spent last season playing with the Tamworth Thunderbolts in the Waratah League. So good to see him another player making that step up, another import from Waratah to NBL1 Eastern. He did not skip a beat. He had 15 points, 10 rebounds, and 4 steals to go with 5 blocks. And they were ferocious blocks as well by Garric Young. And I tell you what, they've got an absolute winner up there on the Central Coast. In fact, Garen caught up with him after the game.
84-71, you guys get the win on the road. What a matchup and what a game for you guys.
Yeah, it was a good game. I'm glad we can get the win. You know, that's all you want in the first game. Start the season off right, you know.
You guys have a lot of athletes on the team, guys that can really run the floor. You play at a really high tempo. What's your play style been like this season so far, and what do you look to do as moving on?
In preseason, we talked a lot about our athleticism and size and speed. So we're really trying to push the tempo. Like every time we get the rebound, get out, make plays, use our athleticism, get up on the rim, especially on defense too, being able to get the defensive board, blocks, things like that, and then get out.
You guys are really good at timing blocks, reading blocks. You had 8 blocks as a team. I feel like floor spacing is underrated for you guys. You guys are a team that can really stretch the floor when you get that inside-outside action. Do you feel like that's something your team's really working on?
Yeah, for sure. Like, we have a lot of length. Like, we got guys like Lino, we got Klairus, we got me, we got Solo. Like, with all our length, we're really trying to push people out the three-point line, force them in the paint, and just use our size, length, and athleticism to discourage them on shots.
What's the chemistry been like playing on the Mika? I know the boys are hype after plays. And 1, 3-pointers, chase down blocks. What's the energy and chemistry been like?
It's been great. Like Coach Miko from the start has really just been telling us, like, it's about how we are as a team. Like, play together, be there for each other, like give each other a towel when you sub off. Like, this togetherness, especially for our type of team, and the energy we can bring with our athleticism, I think it'll make a big difference for us this year.
Where can I find the lyrics to this song? Because we got to learn it.
Man, I don't even know the lyrics yet. I'm excited, though. We'll see. I'll get some out to you guys. I'll let you guys know once we finish up.
First of many wins. We appreciate it as always. All the best, man.
You guys for coming, man.
Thanks, man.
All season, you know?
So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Garric Young. Keep an eye out for him this season. It's going to be a big one. Speaking of which, it was a huge game for Klairus Amir. Wow, what a way to debut for your new club. 26 points, 7 rebounds, and 1 assist. Hey, don't worry about it. Didn't really need to. He was shooting the shit out of the ball. Field goal percentage, 64%. Let me say that again, 64%. And from 3 as well, did 4 of 8, so 50% from 3. That is just incredible. Klairus Amir pretty much had the perfect game in terms of scoring, and just looked so dynamic out there. Just another season under his belt with the Sydney Kings. We also had the privilege to talk to Klairus Amir after his stunning debut. But if you want to check that out, head to our Instagram, 2 Feet Into Paint on Instagram, and you can see the full interview there. Another player who didn't know a whole lot about coming into the game, but was just phenomenal, was Lino Manhom. Sorry about the mispronunciation, Lino, if we got that last name wrong, but dude popped off for 16 points and 8 rebounds, to go along with 2 blocks as well, and he is just humongous. A very, very tall player. I mean, you don't realize it until you see him in real life, but he's legit 7 foot. And he was just causing trouble in the paint. I mean, anytime the Spiders would drive in, they'd have second thoughts. I mean, if Garric Young wasn't swatting it, Lino Manhom was using his presence to get in there. And a lot of easy finishes for the big man, because if you got slashes like Klairus Amir and Washington, who we will get to in a second, just staying in that dunker spot, he got plenty of good opportunities and plenty of putbacks as well. I mean, that contributed to his 8 rebounds. But Lino's... the center, the Central Coast Crusaders has been looking for a lot of seasons now, and they've got an absolute winner. Of course, played last in this NBL1 Central for the Lions, I believe. Another import, this time an international import, is Ilisia Washington. Showed out. I mean, exactly what you would expect from Ilisia Washington. 14 points and 7 rebounds as well, which is very good, to go with 3 assists, and did that all off 40% shooting, 3 of 6 from 3-pointers, so 50% there. Crusaders were just getting great looks and knocking them down. I mean, this team was firing on all cylinders offensively and just did it very efficiently. Only 2 players shot under at least 45%, so there was good performances all round, getting real high percentage around the basket, and the ball movement was leading to good threes. And Washington was just benefiting from it. I think one of the better ISO scorers on this team, so it's going to be useful, I think, down the stretch sometimes if the offense isn't quite working. Just throw him the ball and see if he can get it up. Of course, remember playing 2 seasons ago with the Sydney Comets, but I think this might be a little bit of a better fit for him on the Central Coast. Don't think it has as much responsibility, which I think means, if you got other players drawing defenders, he's going to get a lot more open space. Not that he needs a whole lot, because he had a sensational game and didn't really need to do too much because everyone else was taking care of business, but 14 points is nothing to sneeze at. So a great debut for Ilisia Washington in his first year with the Central Coast Crusaders. Looking down the bench, solid performances as usual from Tom Akamamoy. New signing as well, Solomon Quoll had some quality minutes, especially defensively. Managed to grab 3 rebounds in 6 minutes, so not too bad for Solomon Quoll. I think was playing JUCO or college and now with the Central Coast Crusaders. But as always, we'll have to highlight the youth talent from the Central Coast Crusaders. Didn't get a whole lot of minutes this game. Jamal Shoib and Alex Bailey as well. Alex Bailey actually got a huge bonk on the nose, so missed a lot of minutes with injury. But it's great to have that depth because the starting 5 for Central Coast Crusaders is deadly. But this bench, I think, is almost just as good. Players like Seth Chapman as well and Hayden Gunderson really give Coach Miko a lot of options here, and those starters won't get too worn out. So I gotta say, this Central Coast Crusaders team could be very deadly. We looked at them last season and thought, oh yeah, there's a lot of talent here, but how's it all going to work? And I think they've learnt a lot from last year, not just recruiting any talent or anyone you can get your hands on. I think they've really got a team that fits really well together. And I think big things. Definitely think finals is on the cards for Miko von Lures and the team this season. That's about all we have time for our Central Coast Crusaders wrap show. Thank you so much for joining us on YouTube and Spotify. And as always, we'll see you next week on 2 Feet into Paint. Thanks for tuning in.